he knows how to score. He's mastered the art of scoring. And what I always like to say is that you have to understand defense if you want to be an effective scorer. And he understands that very well. So he controls his defender and he gets to the spots that he wants to get to score.
Right now, in May 2026, Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks are just 8 wins away from something this franchise hasn't achieved in over half a century, a championship. But what makes this run feel different isn't just the distance to the title, though it's how they've gotten here night after night. The Knicks aren't just winning, they're imposing themselves on the league. They are delivering moments that even the most iconic eras in franchise history never fully reached, turning what once felt like hope into something far more dangerous. Belief that the center of it all is Jalen Brunson, playing with the poise of a franchise cornerstone and the urgency of a player who understands exactly what this city is waiting for. And now, with New York fully behind them and Madison Square Garden shaking with every possession, the Knicks aren't just chasing history anymore, standing at the edge of it, 0.8 wins away from ending decades of frustration, 0.8 wins away from rewriting everything that came before them. And for the first time in a long time, it doesn't feel like a dream, that IT feels real.
Bring it on. Brunson throws it up and Bridges throws it down.
Wow. Well, I'm going to take this highlight. Mikal Bridges.
The numbers alone don't seem real. The New York Knicks didn't just beat Atlanta. They shattered them, building a 47-point halftime lead, the largest in NBA playoff history. Then they swept Philadelphia, recording the franchise's first postseason sweep in a 7-game series since 1999. Along the way, they tied a league record for most three-pointers in a single playoff game. But even those records don't fully capture what's happening. Because the most shocking part isn't just how dominant New York has been, it's how effortless it looks. Through their first 10 playoff games, they're outscoring opponents by nearly 20 points per night, a margin that places them among the most overwhelming postseason runs the NBA has ever seen. And while New York is rising to historic heights, another franchise is staring into the opposite reality. In Dallas, the picture is unrecognizable. The Dallas Mavericks finished 26-56, 12th in the Western Conference, a season defined by disappointment, instability, and unanswered questions. Luka Doncic is gone. Jalen Brunson is gone. And even former owner Mark Cuban has openly reflected on decisions he wishes he could take back. At first glance, these two stories feel unrelated. One team is chasing a championship. The other is trying to remember how it lost its identity, but they are connected by a single thread of mistake that didn't begin in 2022, when Dallas let Brunson walk in free agency. It started much earlier. Back on draft night in 2018. And the deeper you follow it, the more surprising it becomes. Because this wasn't one mistake. It was 3.3 separate moments where Dallas misjudged Jalen Brunson, and each one didn't just cost them a player. It helped build the very team now standing 8 wins away from ending a 53-year championship drought in New York.
Brunson ahead of steam. He burrows in deep and scores!
By the summer of 2021, Jalen Brunson had already proven he could thrive next to Luka Doncic. Year after year, he improved. Game after game, he delivered when the Dallas Mavericks needed him most. By that point, he had earned the right to sign a 4-year rookie extension worth up to $55 million for Dallas. It was a simple decision. A stabilizing guard next to their franchise superstar at a reasonable price. For Brunson, it was even simpler. He was ready to sign immediately. Part of that urgency came from experience, not ego. Brunson had watched his father, Rick Brunson, navigate years in the NBA without ever securing long-term financial stability. So this wasn't just about opportunity. It was about security, about finally locking in what he had spent his life chasing. But Dallas didn't move. Instead of putting the deal on the table, the Mavericks asked for time. They wanted flexibility. They wanted to evaluate. They wanted to wait. Training camp came and went. Still no extension. Behind the scenes, the Mavericks believed they had leverage. Their internal projections suggested Brunson's market wouldn't explode in free agency. They expected his value to land somewhere closer to 4 years, $45 million. That assumption would prove to be catastrophic. Because what Dallas saw as patience, the rest of the league saw as an opportunity, and it would become one of the most expensive miscalculations in franchise history. Even after missing their first opportunity, the Dallas Mavericks kept getting chances to fix it. Before the 2021-22 season began, Jalen Brunson's camp made their stance clear. If an extension wasn't done before, Opening night, they would not negotiate during the season. Then Brunson took another leap. Whenever Luka Doncic missed time, Brunson didn't just fill in, he elevated. He earned a permanent starting role and looked increasingly like a player Dallas had undervalued from the start. By January, his camp made one more push. The message was simple. The door was still open. If Dallas wanted him, they could still get him on the same extension. The Mavericks hesitated again, and before the trade deadline, another window opened. This time through a renegotiation that could have locked him in long-term. Once again, Dallas did nothing. Only after the deadline did the offer finally arrive. The same 4-year, $55 million contract Brunson would have accepted months earlier. But by then, everything had changed. Brunson had outplayed the deal. His camp knew it. The league knew it. And internally, even Dallas knew it no longer reflected who he had become. What once looked like a fair extension now felt like a ceiling. Then came the playoffs. When Luka suffered a calf injury and missed the first 3 games against Utah, the entire structure of the Mavericks offense shifted onto Brunson's shoulders. What followed was a statement no front office can ignore that he averaged 32 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists across those games, taking control of the series in Luka's absence. In Game 2, his 41-point performance didn't just save Dallas. It announced to the league that he was no longer a secondary piece. Even after Luka returned, Brunson didn't fade. Together, they pushed the Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals, forming one of the most dangerous offensive duos in basketball today to that point. Retaining him felt inevitable. The Mavericks had full bird rights. They could outbid anyone. And publicly, Mark Cuban spoke as if the deal was already secured. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. The New York Knicks weren't waiting. Rick Brunson had already joined Tom Thibodeau's coaching staff in New York. Leon Rose was quietly preparing cap space. Every move pointed in one direction. A serious pursuit was coming. Dallas still believed this was about money. What they didn't realize was that the decision had stopped being about money long ago. And by the time they understood that, it was already too late. If you want, I can also help you write the *** final Knicks signing Brunson reveal section ***, so it lands like a punch instead of summary. That's where this story can really peak. At worst, the Dallas Mavericks believed they still had leverage. That if things went wrong, a sign-and trade could at least return value instead of losing Jalen Brunson for nothing. Then the New York Knicks changed everything. They aggressively cleared cap space, moved contracts, and sacrificed assets to create maximum flexibility, sending a clear message to the league. This wasn't preparation for a possibility. It was preparation for Brunson. Reports quickly surfaced that New York was ready to offer well over $100 million, and Dallas scheduled one final meeting. Still holding every financial advantage on paper with bird rights and the ability to offer 5 years and $175 million, plus the appeal of Texas tax benefits. But by the time that meeting was supposed to happen, it never even took place. Both sides offered different explanations, but the reality was simple. The decision had already been made. Brunson chose New York, signing a 4-year deal worth over $100 million. Nearly double what Dallas had hesitated to commit to just 1 year earlier. The NBA later